Hello everyone and welcome back to AustinPlus, where today we are talking about a very personal thing to me. I love cinemas, as you well know, and going to the cinema used to feel like an event. Big screens, packed audiences, the shared excitement before the movie even starts, like the popcorn, the excitement of all, like the or what flavor we're gonna get. But now more and more people are just skipping the theaters altogether. So what changed? So today we're answering the question is, why do people not typically use cinemas and theaters anymore? I know it may not seem like that is the case, but it is. Like, people going to the cinema, I barely ever see a cinema that's packed. Even if it's a cinema with about 3 screens, which is more than likely the ones that I go to, there is barely anyone in them. And it's not because they're not popular, it's just because people are not interested. So I'm here today asking why that is. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing I think is the biggest issue with all of this is the rise of streaming. The biggest shift is the inconvenience, as streaming platforms have completely changed how people consume movies by offering instant access, massive libraries, and the ability to watch anything at any time without leaving home. And what once felt like an alternative has basically now become the default for many viewers. It doesn't require effort. It requires literally sitting on the couch and turning on your, literally using a little remote to do it. This makes the idea of going out to watch a movie just feel a bit less necessary, which I can understand the convenience aspect of it, but it's more the experience for me. Another thing that can also be a bit of a sticking point for cinemas these days, and I completely get this one. This is the one where I'm like, this is surely why. But rise of streaming is obviously the biggest one, but this is probably the one that makes the most sense, and it's the cost of going to a cinema. Do you know how expensive it is to go to a cinema now? It's about 10 quid for a single ticket. So if you want to go with a friend or something like that, it's 20 quid. That's a lot of money for a 2-hour experience. Less than that these days. And then obviously you have to pay for the popcorn or snacks or sneak them in. That is a lot of money if you think about it. The cost of going to the cinema has increased significantly, with ticket prices, food and the additional expenses adding up very quickly, especially for groups or families. For many people, a single cinema trip can cost more than the entire month of streaming, making it harder to justify unless the movie feels like a must-see experience. I am very much like that. I've broadened my horizons when it comes to movies and going to see it at the cinema, because I am now in a position where I can do that, which I'm happy about. Now, what also happens with that is, because there's not as many must-watch movies anymore, it also basically has taken away the element of surprise. Oh, I'll wait until it gets on streaming. Because not every movie feels essential to watch in theaters anymore, as many films are released directly on streaming platforms or become available shortly after their theatrical run. Without that sense of urgency or exclusivity, audiences are more than willing to wait and watch it at home rather than prioritizing a trip to the cinema. Because as much as I love going to the cinema, planning it with friends is a bloody nightmare. However, there is a lot less movies where I must go and see that. 2026 has actually been on it. January, nothing. February, I do believe it was nothing. And then basically April onwards, they just went bang, 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 bang. There was so many things. So I do get it from that aspect of things. There is less urgency, but it also, I think all of these points that I'm making do link in with this is the reason I'm not doing is because of the cost, and there's fewer less must watch movies, and obviously I can watch on streaming. All of them are linking. Now, the other thing is that home entertainment, there is no lying here. Don't lie to ourselves here. Home entertainment has dramatically improved in the last, I'd say, 5 years, especially since COVID, with high quality televisions, surround sound systems, and comfortable viewing environments, making it so much easier to replicate much of the cinema experience that you usually get. For many viewers, the difference between watching it at home and in the theater is that there is no longer enough to justify the extra effort and cost, because you can obviously close the blinds, you have that darkness, obviously increase the volume as if it's a cinema. It is a lot easier to do, and obviously some people do install home at cinemas in their own home. There is also some people also do believe that the cinema experience isn't basically ideal. The cinema experience itself can sometimes be a downside, as issues like noisy audiences, phone usage, overcrowding, and uncomfortable seating can take away from the enjoyment of the film. I understand that more than a lot of people, because I think it was the Mandalorian and Grogu went to go and see that. There was two people about 2 rows up from us, and they were across from us. Sometimes I can exaggerate, I can admit that. But when I say they spoke the whole time, I am not kidding. And I would like to reiterate that. From the moment that the bloke was on the screen to the point where he left, which is the whole bloody film, they kept talking. Now, I was like, how can you talk for 2 and a bit hours straight? I can't do that, and I do this I talk a lot. It's called Austin Talks, AustinPlus. I can't even do that. I understood that, and I also hate when they use their phones and people have alarms. Fair enough. The overcrowding, the thing is, the overcrowding thing, that's not a thing anymore. There is barely any. But the noisy audiences can get on your nerves, and obviously when they like eating popcorn and stuff, that's probably the worst part for me. I think at home there's a lot more of a control and comfort, and these distractions can also make theatres feel less appealing. Now, this is the unfortunate truth. I do also understand this. People have so much more of a shorter attention span these days, and it's a changing habit. It's a culture. It's normal. I can appreciate that, because audience habits have shifted towards more flexible viewing, where people are used to pausing, skipping, or multitasking while watching content. I am one of them. I cannot sit still. In a cinema, I have to, so I cannot sit still. I have to be doing something while watching a telly, or watching telly while I'm doing something. That's how my brain works, and I get it. Sitting through a 2 to 3 hour movie without control over the experience doesn't appeal to everyone anymore. I get that more than... I like the cinema. I like going to the cinema. I would like to see more people go to the cinema, because when I ask my friends, they're like, no, I don't really... I'll just wait till it comes on streaming services. But, like... I like going to the cinema. It's not even a money thing, but like, I like going to the cinema. I also think that now that we're in a world where content is often consumed in shorter, more manageable segments, it does feel very pointless. But the biggest thing is that was the impact of the pandemic. The pandemic accelerated these changes by forcing cinemas to close and pushing studios to release movies on streaming platforms instead. During this time, audiences became accustomed to watching new releases at home, and even after theatres reopened, many of those habits just remained, which is the unfortunate truth, but it's true. So, are cinemas actually dying? I wouldn't say they aren't completely disappearing, but the role has really changed that they had, as they are becoming more focused on major event films and justify that they are on the big screen experience. Blockbusters and spectacle-driven movies still draw crowds. Much smaller and mid-budget films often struggle to attract audiences in the same way that they once did. However, can cinemas improve from this? What do they need to do? To stay relevant, cinemas need to offer something that streaming just can't replicate. Such as premiere formats, better environments, and experiences that feel worth leaving home for. The future of theatres depends solely on creating a sense of occasion, rather than competing directly with the convenience. So, why do people not use cinemas anymore? It isn't just the one factor, but a combination of convenience, cost, changing habits, and improved home technology that has shifted how people watch movies. Because watching movies have changed, and unless theaters can give a reason to come back, staying home is just easier. Cinemas didn't suddenly just become worse because they just stopped being the only option, and that change has a lasting impact, unfortunately. Do you still go to cinemas? Let me know in the comments below. But without further ado, folks, that is the end of today's video. I do hope you all enjoyed it, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe and comment what else you would like to see on this very channel. But I hope you have an amazing day as always, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.
Yeah.